And thanks very much. I am joined by Lee Weingart, our Republican analyst here at Channel 5, and also Peter Lawson Jones, our Democrat analyst. Guys, good morning. Great to see you.
Good morning.
It's good to be here with you, Chris.
Great. Thanks for coming in. All right, it's President Obama versus Governor Mitt Romney for the White House. Romney securing the GOP nomination just a few weeks ago. And then since then, Americans are certainly weighing in. Take a look at this. This is a poll from Real Clear Politics. It takes the results of 10 different polls and averages them. As you can see, President Obama leading Mitt Romney 47 to 44%. The margin of error plus or minus 3. So guys, it's really a draw. This is really close, this race right now. Peter, let's start with you. What does President Obama need to do to keep the White House in the fall?
Well, the one thing I like the president's chances right now, not only as an incumbent, but I think one of the challenges that Mitt Romney faces is that there's already a significant edge that the president enjoys amongst women, amongst members of the Hispanic community, amongst members of the African American community, and frankly, I don't see that being overcome in the next several months. He is obviously going to tout the things that he's done. The economy is clearly on the upswing, is showing improvement. He ended the war in Iraq. He is winding down the war in Afghanistan. He captured and obviously eliminated Osama bin Laden. So I think there are a lot of positive things. There are some accomplishments that he's going to be able to talk about on the campaign trail. And I also think that he passes two other critical tests. I think he passes the beer summit test. I think voters would rather have a beer with President Obama than they would with Mitt Romney because I believe he connects better to the average citizen. And I also believe that he's better when it comes to what I call the parity test. I think the candidate who's most easily parodied is the one who probably won't win, and I think that distinction goes to Mitt Romney.
All right, so Lee, I'm sure you're on the flip side, say not so fast.
I may not agree with those things that my friend Peter said.
Well, what do you think, Governor Romney? We still have 6-7 months to go. What does the governor have to do? Peter mentioned women. What does he have to do to win the White House?
Well, he's got to bring the message back to the middle to attract women voters, to attract folks who don't vote in primaries, which is most of America. The president, I think, has a problem, though. The president's problem is he has a very small record to run on, opposed to what Peter just told you. His domestic accomplishments, Obamacare, is very unpopular right now with the American people. His other one, the stimulus program, is a reminder of deficits that we've run up over the past 3 years in Washington, D.C. So I think he's got a thin record on which he can run for re-election. So my guess is what you'll see from the president is much like you saw in 1948 with Harry Truman, the do-nothing Congress. He will place at the doorstep of Congress the blame for things not getting done in Washington the last 3 years. It worked in 48, whether it works in 2012, I don't know. But I think it's going to be a very negative campaign where the president points to Congress and says, those guys didn't do their job, but elect me again anyway.
All right, Peter, for the average person watching across the country, certainly here in Ohio, we have 6 months to go before the election. Why should folks care right now, so far out? Usually it's after Labor Day where things really heat up. But why now? Why should folks really tune in?
Well, the fact is that, unfortunately, people, the vast majority of Americans probably won't get interested in this race until after summer's over. Right now, they're planning summer vacations, their trips, what's going to happen before the kids return to school. So you probably won't see the level of interest that we ought to have as Americans. But the reason you ought to care is because the candidates are offering very starkly different views of the future of America and the way that we should progress. And that ought to get all of our attention. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to secure that attention until after Labor Day.
Okay, still a few more months. Lee, there's been some attacks, both sides, the governor and the president going after each other. Does this really work, the negative attacks, or do voters tune out and get sick of it, especially so early on, 6 months ago?
It must work because they always do it, right? If it didn't work, they wouldn't run negative ads. I think people will take attention or pay attention in the states where there's a lot of money put into the campaign. I mean, of course, they'll care in California, they'll care in Texas, but you won't see a lot of campaigning in California or Texas by Obama or by Romney. They're going to care in Ohio a lot because we're going to be in the center of the storm. There are probably 10 or 11 states that are legitimately up for grabs right now. The other 38 or 39 or 40 are not really up for grabs. So you have states like Ohio, Missouri, Iowa that are really going to have an onslaught of advertisements, negative advertisements particularly, that are going to make the decision in November. I mean, we've gotten down to the science now where we know what states Republicans run well, we know what states Democrats run well, and we know there are states in the middle, and Ohio is right in the middle.
Certainly. And
you
Peter,
know, one of the things that I believe that at least in a presidential campaign, barring a major faux pas and mistake and misstep, voters will have a much better idea of what each of these candidates stands for, their vision for the country, than they might of a judicial race, or that they might of a race for city council in their community. And so the negative ads will, well, the TV stations and the radio stations will be the big beneficiaries when it comes to the negative ads. However, I think that voters will have a clear enough view of the various perspectives where the negative ads won't have, again, barring some extraordinary misstep, as great an impact on the presidential level as they might in some down-ticket race where the voters never get to know the candidates and what they stand for.
Yeah, and it comes down to who frames the election better, right? So Obama's message is going to be, I'm like you, I'm on your side, vote for me. Romney's going to say, you gave him 4 years, he didn't get it done, vote for me. So we'll see whose message resonates better. I'm like you, vote for me, or he didn't get it done, vote for me.
We'll see what happens. Still 6 months to go. Should be wildly entertaining.
Oh. And I think the president will say, I'm like you, and I've gotten the job done.
All right, gentlemen, great to see you. Lee, Peter, thanks for coming in. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back to the desk now.